Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Amrita Ramesh, and I bring you this topic of structure of a neuron from the chapter Control and Coordination. This chapter is from class 10 CBSE Biology. So this video is available in English as well as in Tamil. So you can kindly forward it to all your relatives and friends who prefer an explanation in Tamil. So this is my background, a little bit about my introduction. So before we understand the structure of a neuron, let's get a basic idea about the nervous system. The nervous system is primarily divided into central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. So what comprises of the central nervous system is the brain and the spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord together we call it the central nervous system. And peripheral nervous system will have all the other nerves which are in the body. Okay. What do I mean by all the other nerves? All the other nerves which are originating from the brain to all other parts of the body, from the brain or the spinal cord to all other parts of the body, as well as from all other parts of the body and going towards the brain or the spinal cord. So either ways, all the nerves in the body will come under peripheral nervous system. But the brain and spinal cord together will form the central nervous system. Okay? This is how the classification of nervous system is done. Now let's move ahead and look at the structure of a neuron. Now, how is the neuron? How does it look? It has a cell body. If you see here, this is the main part of the cell which is called as the cell body or a cyton. Cyton or a cell body. Now, what does it have? Just like any other cell, it will have its own organelles as well as nucleus. So, a nucleus will be present and many other organelles will be present. So, just like a normal cell. So this cell body has nucleus and the cell organ. Now what other structures are present? We have dendrites. So these dendrites, if you look at them, they resemble a root. Okay, the tree root if you see. This structure you can compare it with the root of a tree or you can compare it with the hand, with our own hand. So we have fingers, right? The fingers look exactly like this dendrite. So the dendrite looks like our fingers. So that is how we can compare and it's easy to relate. So these dendrites, what is the function of these dendrites and why do we have these root-like structures? Why do we need them in the first place? Because to increase the surface area. Now what is surface area? Now if you see these dendrites, they are going everywhere. Okay. This side also they are emerging, this side also they are emerging, here also they are coming, here also, everywhere they are going, isn't it? Had it been in only one place, it would be difficult to catch the signal. What do I mean by signal? Nerve impulse. Okay, nerve impulse is what we call it as a signal. In terms of neurobiology, we use the term action potential or nerve impulse. Okay, so these are the terms we are supposed to use. Okay, now these dendrites will increase the surface area. Now, what do I mean by increase surface area? They will help in capturing more signals. Okay, more signals can be captured. So, from here also, if there is a signal that is coming, this dendrite will capture. From here, this dendrite will capture. From here, this dendrite will capture. So, everywhere you pass it on, okay, just like the root. Now, if you take the example of root, why is the root spreading out like that? Because it has to take up water, okay, minerals from everywhere. Now imagine if it was only to one single place. It would be difficult to get water and nutrients and nourishment for the plant. Similarly, here also, if the dendrites are present widespread if they are, then they can catch signals from everywhere, throughout, okay. Throughout the space, they can capture all the signals and take it to the brain or the spinal cord. Similarly, they can take it from the brain also to the respective part, whichever part needs the signal. Okay, that is why dendrites are present like this. Now, this dendrite, what is the function? Like we said, receives the electrical impulse from the previous axon. Okay, from the previous axon, it will receive the electrical signal and pass it on to the next one. Okay, so that is how the dendrites function. Now, after this, what is the part? This part is called as the axon. Axon is a tube-like structure. Now, if you compare it with a hand, the palm portion is similar to the cell body. The hand portion or the fingers portion are dendrites. Okay, compare it with the dendrite. The palm portion is similar to the cell body, and the forearm. Okay, the whole of the forearm you can compare it to the axon. Okay, it's a tube-like structure. So our forearm, you can compare it with the axon. Now, what does that axon do? It will take the signal from the dendrite. Okay, from the dendrite, the signal will pass through the cell body into the axon. So, axon will pass the signal. Okay, and in the subsequent images, I will show you how exactly the electrical transmission happens. Okay, or impulse transmission happens. Electric impulse transmission happens. Now, this is the axon. Axon will end in something called axon terminals. Now that also we'll see in the subsequent images. Okay, axon terminals. What are axon terminals? What is the function? Axon terminals will transmit the signal to the next neuron. Okay, supposing one neuron is present like this, another neuron will start. Okay, the dendrites. Here the dendrites will be there. So this will pass, okay, just like we have a pass in the pass game. Supposing one person is standing in the front, okay, you are standing here, then you have a person standing in the front, you have a person standing in the back. So you will take it from them. Your hand will reach out, you will take it through your palm using your palms and fingers, you will take it, right? That is how you'll pass. And then give it to the other person at the back. So this is how transmission happens. Electric impulse transmission also happens in the similar way through these neurons, through these axons, okay, through the neurons or the nerves. Now, important point or interesting point here to note is axons vary in length from 1 millimeter to 1 meter. Okay, they can be small as 1 millimeter also, and as big as 1 meter also. Okay, that varied they can be. Okay, depending upon the distance. Where do you have to travel, or where do you have to transmit the signal? If it's very far, supposing the message has to be given to the legs, then the axon has to be very long. Or if it has to be transferred only to somewhere in the face, then it will be very small. Okay? That is how it functions. Now, moving ahead, we have different types of neuron. Now, types of neuron is based on what? Now, we say different types, but on what? Based on what? Based on the covering, based on the wrapping. What wrapping? We have a wrapping around the neuron. It is called as a myelin sheath. Okay, it's called a myelin sheath. So we have myelinated or medulated neurons and non-myelinated or unmedulated or unmyelinated neurons. Okay. Now if you see in this image, this is the axon. This yellow, light yellow part is the axon. The covering on top, see a covering on top, that is the myelin sheath. So what is this myelin sheath made up of? It is basically made up of lipids and proteins, majorly a lot of lipids. Okay. Myelin sheath is formed of lipids, is made up of lipids. And what is it made up of? It is, or where is it produced from? It is produced from Schwann cells. Schwann cells, you can see this cell, okay, this violet color cell is the Schwann cell. This produces this myelin sheath top. Okay, and how was it arranged? It is arranged concentrically. What do I mean by concentrically? Round, bigger round, inside that one more round, inside that one more round. Okay, that is what, when I say concentric, that is what I mean. So here you can look, one round outside, another round inside, another round inside. This is how concentric, in a concentric manner it is present. You can look at it in this image also. So you have one, you have another one. So take a hose pipe, supposing you can take a hose pipe or a pipe or any other tube. So you have one wrapping, you wrap it again, you wrap it again. So you are creating layers and layers, in a circular manner. When you are layering something, that is what we call it as in a concentric manner. So you have two different types. One is myelinated and unmyelinated. So we understood what this myelin sheath is and where is it present outside this axon. Okay, so covering of the axon. But what is the function? What is the function of this myelin sheath? One function is it helps in fast transmission of impulse. So why do we need fast transmission of impulse? Supposing you are in danger, will you be thinking there, should I do this, should I do that? No, we have to be very quick, isn't it? We have to be very quick in our action. Okay, supposing you're touching a hot object, you will not sit there touching the hot object, right? You have to quickly take it out. So you have to be very quick in your action. Similarly, so just that is precisely why the neurons have to be very quick in delivering the message, right? So that is why you have myelin sheath. So myelin sheath helps in quick response, okay, so fast transmission of the impulse. Similarly, one more function is there. One more function is insulation. Now we have seen electric wires, right? Electric wires are there which have a coating on top. Okay, you have black color coating or red color coating if you have seen. Now what is that coating? Why is the coating done? Because electric wires are there. They will conduct electricity, right? They have this potential to generate electricity. Now what if we touch a live wire and we get electrocuted? We get that shock, isn't it? So to avoid us, to protect us, Okay, what we'll do, we'll cover it with an insulation tape. Similarly, this also provides insulation for leakage. Now let's take an example. Supposing you are touching a hot object, and so immediately your brain or spinal cord has to send a signal to your hand, okay, that take out your hand quickly. Now what happens? Supposing no myelin sheath is present, what will happen? There is a chance of leakage of the message, and it goes off to your leg. And your hand is still there, what will happen? You will get injured, isn't it? You will get hurt, you will get burnt. So to avoid leakage, you have a myelin sheath, it will act as an insulation or insulator. Okay. One more important point with respect to the structure of a neuron is node of Ranvier. Now what is a node of Ranvier? If you see this region, this is not covered by myelin sheath, this region is not covered by myelin sheath. Similarly, in this axon, you have this region which is not covered by myelin sheath. Here also you have, right? So these spaces, okay, in between you have bits of spaces which are not covered by myelin sheath. Now that is what is called as a node of Ranvier. Okay, what is written here? Regions of the axon, regions on the axon which are not myelinated and they are bare. Okay, that is how that region is called as node of Ranvier. Okay. So I hope the structure of the neuron is very much clear. Okay, so these are some important points that you're supposed to remember. Okay, dendrites, cell body or cyton, axon terminals, and what exactly is present. So you have Schwann cells, you have myelin sheath that is present outside. Okay, and node of Ranvier. So this will comprise the structure of a neuron. This is what is present. Now let's move ahead and see the function of a neuron. Now, how is the nerve impulse generated? Now, if you see in this GIF image, GIF, see this is the dendrite region. So it's catching the impulse, it's quickly catching the impulse, sending it here through this, okay, through this axon, it is going to this part. So this part is what is axon terminal. What is a terminal end? You have bus terminals, right? You have a terminal meaning what? End, okay? One end where when we reach to an end, okay? That is what is called as a terminus, okay, or a terminal, okay? Similarly, here also axon terminals are there. So what are axon terminals? The ending or the end part. Okay. So from here, the message will come. It will go via this axon and reach this part. This is the axon terminal. From here, it will go to another neuron. Which part of another neuron? The dendrites. Again, the dendrites will quickly receive the message. Dendrites have the capacity to only receive the message, and axon terminals have the capacity to only deliver or transmit the message. They can't capture, they can't receive. The other way around is not possible. Okay, so this is exactly what happens in the nerve impulse conduction. I hope this nerve impulse conduction is very clear how exactly it is happening. Now, one more important concept is the concept of a synapse. What is a synapse? Synapse is the gap between two neurons. Now, if we have one neuron, here I told you there is one neuron here, there will be another neuron from here. So there will be a gap between the two. They are not joined. They are never joined. Okay, so there's a gap between two neurons. Now, this gap is what is called as a synapse. Okay, if you see here, there is a presynaptic cell or presynaptic neuron. Here, which cell are we talking about? Neuron. Neuron is a cell, the brain cell. Okay, nerve cell. So here, what are we talking about? We're talking about presynaptic neuron or presynaptic cell. This is a postsynaptic cell. Why is it postsynaptic? Because it is present after the synapse, and this is present before the synapse. Okay, so this is before the synapse and this is after the synapse. So this is called presynaptic cell and this is called postsynaptic cell or postsynaptic neuron. This is the synaptic cleft. Cleft is what? A gap. A synaptic cleft or a synapse. Okay. Now what happens? Why do we need a synapse and what is the significance of a synapse? There are two different types of synapse. One is an electric synapse, another one is a chemical synapse. I hope you don't get confused between the two. Now, first we'll go to electric synapse. What is electric synapse? Now, we know that neuron will conduct nerve impulses, and nerve impulses are electric. Okay, so these nerve impulses have to be transferred from one neuron to another neuron. Now, when direct transfer of electric impulse from one neuron to another neuron happens, we call it as an electric synapse. There is no conversion. directly electric impulse is being transferred from one neuron to another neuron. That is what is an electric impulse. Now, what happens in chemical synapse? Chemical synapse involves the conversion of the electric signal into a chemical signal. Okay, a chemical signal is formed in between. In that synapse region, we have a chemical signal that is formed. Now, how is this chemical signal formed? Is it formed automatically? No. We need some neurotransmitters. We need some chemicals. Okay. What chemicals are those? Neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters is neuro because it is dealing with the nerves. It is dealing with the neurons. Transmitter. What is a transmitter? Transmits. Transmission. It helps in transmission of the message. So it is neurotransmitter. Okay. Now you have this. This is a presynaptic neuron. This is the postsynaptic neuron. Now here you have a lot of bulbs. You can see these bulb-like structures. What are these bulb-like structures? They are nothing but synaptic vesicles. Inside the synaptic vesicles, you will have neurotransmitters. Okay, you have different neurotransmitters. There are lots of neurotransmitters which have very specific functions. Now, these synaptic vesicles have neurotransmitters which will be released into this. As soon as it receives electrical impulse, supposing this neuron receives an electric impulse, what will happen? It will start releasing these neurotransmitters into this gap, which will help this electrical impulse to transmit to the postsynaptic neuron. This is how a message is transferred through a chemical synapse. Okay, if you see in this image also same thing is happening. The synaptic cleft, these are synaptic vesicles having neurotransmitters. So this will help in conversion of electrical signal into chemical signal and then jump this gap and then again get converted into an electric signal. So first we have electric signal. At the synapse it will get converted into an chemical signal. Again, when it reaches the next neuron, it will again get converted into an electric impulse, electric signal. Okay, this is how a synapse work. This is how all the synapses will work. I hope the functioning and the structure of a synapse is very clear. It is very important part. There is a possible question here, the working of a synapse and what is a synapse, what happens at the synapse. So you have to remember this chemical synapse and what exactly happens. And remember, in human body, electric synapse is not found very commonly. It is very rare. Only at certain places it is found in certain parts. But more commonly, it is the chemical synapse that is present in the human body. Let's move on to the next topic and see. So now you have a better image which will tell you what exactly is happening. So you see when neurotransmitters are released into the synapse and then they are received by the other neurons. So you see here in this image itself, if you see, there is one place where there is axon terminal and one place where there are dendrites, isn't it? See, so that is what is very important. Okay, so from the axon terminals will release the signal. See here, if you see, if you see this image, you have axon terminals here and here you have dendrites. So axon terminals will send the signal, dendrites of the other neuron will take up the signal. This place is called the synapse. You see gap, a small gap is present, that is the synapse. And this is how it functions. You see the synaptic vesicles are coming and releasing the neurotransmitters into the synapse, which will be received by this subsequent neuron. Same thing is happening here also. You can see that glow, that is the electrical impulse. And this is a synaptic gap, which will release the neurotransmitter. Okay, let's move to the last and final topic. Very important concept again, nerve impulse propagation is unidirectional. Now, what do I mean by unidirectional? Again, like uni means single. So it will form, it can only move in one direction, not the other direction. Now, why is it like this? Why can't it move the other way around? Because of the structure of the neuron or the architecture of the neuron. What is the architecture of the neuron? We know very well, right? Here we saw. If you look at this image, I told you one neuron one neuron has this one neuron has this axon terminals on one end and one neuron will have the dendrite. Okay, so how is the neuron will have dendrites on one end, and neuron will have another, on the other end it will have axon terminals. So axon will be there, and then the axon terminals, right? Now what exactly happens? See, dendrites have the capacity to only receive the impulse. Like I told before, dendrites cannot transmit. They can only receive the signal. And axon terminals can only transmit the signal. They can't receive it back. Okay. Because of this limitation, okay, and we have dendrites only on one end. We do not have dendrites on both end and axon terminals on both end, right? We don't have like that. We have dendrites on one end and axon terminals on the other end. So from one end we can receive the signal, one end we can give the signal. That's all can happen. We can't do both ways, right? So that is why, because the structure of the neuron is like that, nerve impulses propagate only in one direction. There is no two-way propagation. Both the ways it is not possible. Okay, so that is a very important question and a very possible question as well. Now, nerve impulses are received by the dendrites and transmitted across through the axon to the axon terminals and on to the next neuron. Okay, the axon terminals cannot receive the impulses. Similarly, the dendrites cannot transmit the impulse. Okay, they can only do, see, dendrites can only receive it, and axon terminals can only transmit the signal. Because of this limitation, nerve impulse is propagated only in one direction. Clear? I hope it is extremely clear. I hope you enjoyed listening to this video. And if you have enjoyed, kindly subscribe and share it to your friends and relatives so that they can also be benefited. Secondly, if you have any suggestions, feedbacks, or any queries or doubts, you can drop a message in the comment section below. Thank you.